All right, welcome everybody to the Genesis Mindset. So today is a very, very interesting episode. We've just spent the last 45 minutes excitedly having a discussion in the back. So this is something that's, in my opinion, huge. So for some reason, this is something that I missed the connection between this one big key piece of the Treasury System that was created by the ATROPA dev and the pDAI peg. But more broadly and more importantly, in my opinion, the parity of the entire blockchain. So this massively boosts the chances of parity on the blockchain. So pDAI at the moment obviously is the hot topic. The concept around the Hyperloop is really sending the prices soaring. So we're over 0.5 cent now. But I have concerns about its validity due to what it means for liquidity. And this is something that Somi's pointed out, and this is something that I'm sure even the Pulsechain pioneers are aware of. So I've been exploring how we can do this as a community, how we could do a decentralized and a centralized kind of concerted effort, and how we can do a community-backed peg. Because personally, I love the idea of a community-backed peg. I love the idea of becoming one with pDAI, becoming part of that process and having a decentralized oracle with no single point of failure, no governance failures, and any risk is basically spread across the whole blockchain. So with that, how are we, fellas? DeFi Pulse and Richard.
Hey, Steve. Good to be
How
here.
you doing, buddy? Yeah, interesting development today, to say the least.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So how about we just, well, first of all, how are you guys doing?
You take it over, right?
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, what we've found today, what we've added and presented to our community is, in recent weeks, we've been burning our matrix tokens into children. And of course, then we've been burning pDAI into our MXDAI. And today we've added the function and the gamification for the community and the broader community to be able to claim back their burnt tokens. Now, there's a whole host of reasons why. Perhaps we can get into that before or after you demonstrate. And DeFi, you've got a long list of positives from there, haven't you, sir?
I think you're going to have to hold me back. So I'm very happy to let the two of you do the discussions, and I'll just jump in when necessary.
Okay, so, well, first what I would like to do is I would like to just show the history in a sense. So obviously we had this Treasury System website that was created by Yogi. So shout out to Yogi. And one of the things that we had was the claim function. So you couldn't claim with FDIC. You couldn't claim, between FDIC and bar. So the first few tokens on the spine, because they'd all been minted out. So it was in non-debenture. Debenture was not true. So you couldn't do it anymore. But the bar children, you could claim. And then Yogi ended up realizing this, creating the code, and so you could claim. So basically, I'd completely forgotten about this fact that you could do it with all of them. And I'd been obsessed with the V4. And so V4, if we remember the V4 liquidity, is the personal minter. So you can basically choose a token to be a parent, V4 personal minter, and there's a multiplier factor for V4 tokens that increases every time the starting supply of the child token is minted. So just for the history, when we look at something like XUSD, for example, now, the reason why it doesn't make sense to claim on XUSD, where is my XUSD? I think he's switched it all up. I don't know where the pDAI
put it on ATROPA. I'm not seeing it.
Maybe it's ATROPA, or I would think it would be pDAI. What's DD? BBC DD. XUSD. Here we go, XUSD. So basically, when you go to mint XUSD, if I want to mint one XUSD, it used to be one pDAI, but at the moment, it's actually 1,138 pDAI. So then there's no reason to claim it, because you would basically, the claim function is 1-to-1. So in order to claim the XUSD, claim back the pDAI on the contract, I would be using the XUSD. But with V3, the first 1.1 billion tokens is 1-to-1. And this is the missing piece of the V3 burners. And so this is something that the Mandala team has, the lads in Mandala have figured this out. And obviously before, what makes this a solid idea is when it goes above, you would burn your pDAI to mint MXDAI. But now with the claim, you can do the opposite on the other side. This was the missing piece, because when it's below here, this can really get carried away unless there's sellers of pDAI that come in to buy MXDAI. That's what's pushing the price chart up. But now with the claim function, you can do the reverse. So here you're burning pDAI for MXDAI. Here you're basically burning MXDAI for pDAI. So it's different language, it's claiming, but it's the same thing. So you're keeping it like this, and now you can see the peg has become much more stabilized. So this is really just unlocked the whole concept. So anything that you guys want to add on to this, the history of it, before I continue to the buying stage?
Well, this chart was just simply us pegging it by buying up MXDAI with pDAI. So there's none of this claim functionality represented in this chart. The claim
Correct.
functionality is brand new. It's literally an hour old. I mean, literally, we launched it on the website an hour ago. But you're absolutely right. With that, you get to play both sides of the arb, so you can perfectly balance the peg. There's like absolute confidence now that the peg will be balanced. Whereas before, we always had this little bit of uncertainty that we would get to parity all the time because someone actually had to come and buy up MXDAI with pDAI. That confidence is now fully established.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Exactly. That's a good clarification to make. So this whole period here was people buying MXDAI with their pDAI. And one of the concerns from the community is, well, why would I buy this token when pDAI is the hottest thing on the chain? pDAI is the thing that's moving. And if pDAI does continue, I mean, this is why the ratio started to, I wouldn't say it blew out, but it's stronger in favor of pDAI because pDAI is moving more, but people were buying, driving the price up.
I would argue with that, Stephen. There was a few changes that we made to liquidity positions and directives, which when we did that, it initially sort of knocked it out. So we then very quickly worked as a community to get it back. So you can see since that point where it climbed back up, that's where we have been ever since, within that range of 98 to 1 generally.
But the point is, it's a community effort from the bottom, right? It was exactly. It was an education to the community when it goes down, buy the thing up. Whereas now, and we, obviously that's a concern. I mean, if I would be concerned that the community would maintain that peg from the bottom, but now you don't have to worry about that anymore because you've got the claim function.
Exactly, and so
that isn't in the sense that we want to wear the claim button out, but it's there in the. We can use it just to claim back some pDAI to then buy the MXDAI.
Yeah,
and we've got 30,000 in liquidity now. Yeah, it has gone up, hasn't it?
Beautiful. So
there's another 20,000 in V3. There's a lot of liquidity on MXDAI. It doesn't show accurately on or does it?
Oh, there's V3. Look, 30. No, it doesn't show.
It only shows 30 bucks.
Doesn't show. It's like another 20,000 on V3.
Yeah, that's incorrectly showing because there's 1 million there.
Yeah.
And then 1.7 million there. Why is it 1.7? Yeah, that's definitely, it's all out of whack, completely out of whack. So, okay. So then this is the part of mindset that I always like to implement. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes greed gets the best of me. But when it comes to something like this where there's uncertainty, I always just like to try. So then I'll just try. I'll try now. I'll try. How does this actually work? So
what are you doing, Stephen? Are you buying some MXDAI, are you, sir?
Correct.
And what are you using?
With pDAI.
Okay, brilliant.
So now I'm buying MXDAI with some pDAI. So this pDAI is all from reward tokens that I have. So this is my donation wallet. It's got some diehard in there. It's got my coexist token, some coexist token that I bought. So that's all there. So now I'm buying MXDAI. And then what would I do after that? Normally, if I want to get involved in this, okay, I want to get involved in this. This looks pretty solid. You can also just see it created a little candle, my little buy, and it's getting closer to parity. So now I would add liquidity. But But I'm not going to do it with all of it because I want to keep some for my claim. So then I go DAI and then MXDAI, and then I'll just use half the MXDAI. So I'll put half in liquidity, and it's a $20 position, $20 to learn. It's not that bad. And I own 0.15% of the liquidity pool. This is the thing as well. So now I'm going to add the liquidity. What's that? Sorry?
So early. $20.
So early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, that pool has doubled in about since the last stream. So 10 days, 14 days. So we are early, aren't we?
Very. I think it was like, and the liquidity in the system as well was not even up to 20, I think.
Mm. It was tiny.
It was, yeah, it was under 20, maybe.
It's still tiny, but it is growing.
But then obviously the price of pDAI has gone up.
Yes.
But then also there has been people that have been, I think you were saying, DeFi, that you basically burned 1 million pDAI.
Oh no, I haven't. Well, I have burnt a substantial amount, but what I did say, and I'm sure I'm going to regret it, was that if the community picked up on this, I would look to burn an additional 1 million, which I'd have to buy off the market. But
yeah,
that's going to be a problem if DAI is at 50 cents.
Right? You might want to buy it now, DeFi.
Yeah. I mean, I think
really the key point of this is by burning the DAI, you're removing it from supply, which makes it more bullish for price pump, but you're interchanging still for 1-to-1. So obviously you'd monitor this ratio to get your exact 1-to-1 if you want it, but you're pretty much doing it 1-to-1. Now, with the updates on the Mandala website, so I've already preloaded this, so mandala.io, and then you go to trade, and then V3 Minter. And when you connect your wallet, there's kind of like this, the pop-up doesn't disappear, so you just have to refresh. And again, like, obviously, I don't want to say this because you guys are here, but there's always risks, all that kind of stuff. Like, do this, experiment with this on a separate wallet till you get your confidence. There's all those risks. So basically, burn. So what are we doing here? So I've got 34,000.
You bought some MXDAI, didn't you? So now what's the next step? Are you going to claim some of that MXDAI back, or are you going to burn some more pDAI?
It's the same. It's so beautiful. So if all that matters is it's just 1-to-1. It's exactly 1-to-1.
Virtually.
They're interchangeable now. Now it doesn't matter whether you own MXDAI or pDAI. They're interchangeable, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
and by holding MXDAI, you are boosting the price of pDAI. So if you're a good community fellow, you would want to change all your pDAI into MXDAI because they're interchangeable, and by doing that, you're reducing the supply of pDAI, pushing up its price. Yeah.
So let's be clear on what this means. So I want to just go zoom in on this chart here so people can really understand this concept because it's very important. So before, what makes this concept fascinating is when the price goes up, then you're going to burn your pDAI to mint MXDAI. And then when you mint the MXDAI, you would sell the MXDAI back into pDAI and you would end up getting your initial pDAI back. If you wanted that, you get your initial pDAI back, and then it brings the chart back down to here. And the reverse happens here now. You're basically claiming. So you can really just think of it as a 1-to-1 swap. So this is a 1-to-1 swap, and this is a 1-to-1 swap in the other way. This is called burn to mint. This is called claim. It's the exact same thing. So here on this side, you're going to burn your MXDAI for pDAI. And then with that pDAI, you can buy up to bring the price back up here and get your MXDAI back. And this is how it's done. It's
So, Steve, what I'd say with that, if you say burnt some pDAI, MXDAI, happy with it, and you're not someone to sit on your computer all day, every day, you can be safe in the knowledge that it will always be like that, because when it is a little bit above or below, someone can come in and they can make a tiny profit in getting us back there.
Yeah.
So you when it goes down a little bit, you'll just claim back, and then you'll buy. Say you claim back 1,000 pDAI, you can buy 1,050 MXDAI, and then you can do that again until it's back up, and you've accumulated a few more tokens either side by doing so. So whoever's on watch, someone's doing it, there's your little reward. Thank you very much for doing so. And for the long-term people in liquidity or just holding it, you're never going to see the prices go widely out, because the community is actively maintaining the peg. We can always do with more people in the community. Now we've got these new buttons and new features. It makes it easier, and people can see, by helping out, can see their token counts increase.
The more people that do this, the better. In other words, the more people that burn, the more people that monitor the peg, the tighter the peg's going to be. It's anti-fragile, right?
For example, for example, us three here. Good morning to me, good afternoon to DeFi, and good evening to you, Stephen. Already three of us, we can literally watch it around the clock. Yeah, so we need people from, people with eyes on it, and to not to, because it's their duty to defend it, because they go, oh, opportunity.
Exactly.
Opportunity. Is it worth the gas fees? Opportunity. Yeah. And unfortunately, I need to go and touch grass a little bit more often, but I'm by my computer for work or this and the other, and I'm pressing buttons a lot, and I'm happy to be making tiny gains at the moment, token wise, with the vision that both of these coins will be $1 at some point.
But can I just, because it's very easy to get focused on this arbitrage process and pegging, but actually what we want to do is forget about the peg, because we are so confident that it's always going to be 1-to-1, and then just focus on burning, because the real thing to do here is to burn your pDAI into MXDAI, knowing that they are always going to be pegged 1-to-1, and that you can get your pDAI back if you want, because the more pDAI that you burn, the higher the price is going to go up. And that's really the objective. Yeah.
And then here we're claiming MXDAI.
I really do think DeFi, you mentioned it, but it really is a game changer in people's perspective to this. They can feel confident. They can, quote unquote, have a play with this now, can't they? Knowing that they can get their pDAI back out, they can go through the process. And as we said, with burning and minting the Matrix token some weeks ago, it's a real satisfying feeling, creating yourself a new token and sort of starting to understand a bit more about blockchain and what's going on, which what you're recently doing, Stephen, with your DeFi in 5 brilliant videos. You had to start showing, hopefully, some new onboarders, some of what we might see as basic concepts, but for people to sort of understand what they're doing. So
I hope so. Yeah.
Come and have a play. If you've never done the burning and claiming, come and have a go.
And I agree with what you're saying, DeFi, about not getting too caught up on the arbitrage, because honestly, if I was participating in this and I saw the ratio come down to here, and I'll be like, oh, awesome opportunity. I'll take it. It's arbitrage. I'll take it. And if you're a liquidity provider as well, and you're providing liquidity for that, you're literally you're benefiting your own liquidity pool. That's the thing. So obviously this is amazing for burning pDAI supply, but yes, still the arbitrage game is awesome. The liquidity game. So I'm just curious to see what the percentage of the liquidity is, and I wonder if it shows on Pulsechain yet. So I've supplied the liquidity, so I've got my little liquidity pool. I want to just check to see so I pressed info V2, and now I'm going to have a look at what the yield is on this pool, because this is passive income as well. This is passive income.
You can look on our website, Steve. That's probably the better place to look.
Oh, okay. Well, it's 4.18% anyway. So where can I look on your website?
First
you go to portfolio and then pools.
Ah, okay. All right.
And then just search for MXDAI.
Actually. So would it be more accurate on your website?
Well, ours is a day. It's updated daily, but it's for the day. So I'm not sure how Pulsechain does it. It's not smoothed or anything like that. So it's showing
So it's showing daily APR, which is 2.4%.
4%.
Okay. And then obviously PulseX is showing the 7 day. So you can see obviously it's taken into account here. So, it's not a huge amount, but that's because not much people are contributing to it at the minute. But then also it's still yield on a stable coin.
Well, yeah, but we mentioned this before, where pDAI pegs and there's millionaires everywhere, and you said you can live off the yield, so you'd be putting it in there, and you're saying how incredible 5% would be on big holdings. So now, who wants to put their pDAI in any liquidity pool where it's going to do this, right? And you're going to lose your pDAI as it pegs. Here, burn half of your pDAI into MXDAI. Put it into liquidity pool. You're earning 2.4% now on average. It does change, but you're earning
IL3, yeah.
And IL3, one of the big tenants of the matrix, with a lot of the tokens. And let's say it pegs, and you go, okay, thank you very much. I'll pull out, but you might go, no, which is great. I'll pull some out, and I like this MXDAI, and then you can earn some liquidity in the MXDAI pools.
There's actually nowhere to earn yield on pDAI. This would be one of the few places where you could do it. So you pair pDAI, MXDAI, you get exactly the same price growth. So you will get all the growth up to $1, plus you will earn yield if you got pDAI, MXDAI, and an LP.
It's incredible. It's really incredible. So I hope this is really, I'm blown away by this, and I'm annoyed at myself that I didn't see it. It's like, oh, how did I not see this obvious thing? And I knew that there was a claim function on all the contracts. I knew that there was, but I was only thinking from the perspective of V4. Now, the interesting thing about this, one of the things that we were mentioning was after 1.1 billion tokens, then the burn to mint of MXDAI becomes 2-to-1. So it's 2 pDAI for 1 MXDAI. So MXDAI becomes more valuable.
Correct.
So there's that dynamic which can get introduced into the market. But then even if you broaden out now, so this is just one example of a community doing this. You could also do this with your own friends. If you think, oh, well, I don't trust this MXDAI, I'm just going to do it with my 5 friends. We're going to launch our own V3 minter, and we're going to earn yield on our own V3 minter that we're not going to tell anybody about. There's
Don't have to ask our devs to build their claim button. We'll gladly do.
Yeah, but you're right, Steve. You're right. Yeah, there's nothing stopping us doing MXDAI too when we get to reach that point. To keep that claim, if that's something that we wanted to do, anyone could do it, couldn't they?
Exactly, because you guys have obviously deconstructed the code to be able to produce this, but I'm sure these days you'd be able to.
I'm going to be doing a video on it soon with the claiming on any token once we found a bit of time.
Beautiful. And then on top of that, again, this system now it just became so much more goated. So we were talking about this, this is across the whole entire blockchain. So let's pick one core coin. So we'll pick INC. So I'm gonna bring up INC. Any chart is fine. So you could launch a minter. There could be a community launch minter of INC, which would be 1-to-1 with it. So you're basically burning your INC for this, whatever this token is. So INC squared. So you make INC squared as the child token to INC, which is the parent token. And so it's basically interchangeable 1-to-1. And as you keep burning INC supply, you're making it more and more scarce, which is going to pump it more and more. That's what we're proposing with the concept of pDAI. So it's going to get to $1 faster in this way than just slow and steady. It's going to get there faster. So we'll do that with every single asset on the blockchain. But then in the bear market, once you have an asset that just dumps, when you have this, you can then sacrifice the child token to claim back the ink. And so then you can use the ink to buy up the child token. So basically then it's creating a cushion. Your chart is creating a cushion against the downside pressure with any asset on the blockchain.
You're adjusting the supply. I think that's what you're trying to say. You're reducing the supply of the coin that's going down, and that's going to keep its price up. It's going to reduce the dump.
More in the sense of, hang on a minute, maybe it doesn't. So it doesn't really work on the downside.
No,
Let me think about this.
It does work on the downside, because what you would do is, if ink was dumping, then you would burn ink for its child, and it would reduce the supply of ink, and then you could use the child to buy it back up. So it does work.
Right. Okay. So basically, if it's dumping, so let's just say this is MXDAI and DAI. So basically, the price of the child would keep going up, or basically because the ink is going down, the value of the price of the child is going up. So then you could burn the ink to mint the child token and then sell the child token into ink. So you're buying, so you're buying ink. Because you're buying ink back, instead of everybody dumping it, you're buying it back. And at the end of that dump, it's going to be interchangeable one-to-one. What were you going to say, DeFi?
Oh, sorry, Stephen. I was going to say, and you're reducing the supply. So you're reducing the supply and buying it back. So you have this double impact.
Well, on the downside of reducing supply, though, will make it drop faster. That's the only problem.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, I'm just looking at I'm looking at economics. I'm just saying, if you reduce supply, price should go up. Everything else being equal.
If there's buy pressure, obviously, but in the bear market, when everything's just dumping, then it's going to have the inverse effect. Everything's going to dump even faster. But then if these systems and these communities that form around these systems really believe in the longevity of Pulsechain, then when the ratio of INC goes like this, then it's like, holy doolies, I'm going to burn my INC. So I'm not going to become that sell pressure. I'm going to mint my INC squared, and then I'm going to buy the INC. I'm going to buy the ink back with my INC squared. So then I'm basically creating a cushion on the downside pressure of INC. But it doesn't matter which tokens I have, because it's just going to be one-to-one. So you multiply that concept across the whole blockchain. So it's more bullish, and it's even bullish in the bearish scenario as well. I'm just blown away by the dynamics of this system. I'm really just blown away. I can't believe I didn't see that. I'm like really kicking myself. So you guys are amazing. This is why it's so awesome to have like other people creating these ideas and thinking about these things. So we're not just relying on somebody telling us what's going to happen. We're actually working as a community to work these things out and then creating these solutions with the tools that we have. It's awesome. And if it ends up working, and like, it's just awesome. I don't know.
Can I just do a little plug for Mandala, because we're also doing this with 2 Mandala coins. So we're also looking to deflate the Mandala matrix. So yeah, I mean, you can just click on that pDAI in that burn function.
Go back to trade. That's it.
Yeah. So
yeah, we've got 2 children. We've got Mandala is the parent of SEC. Yeah, hit V3 Mint and click. You'll have 3 options when you get there. Yeah, change that, and you can either. Oh, that's it. They're the parents. So you've got Mandala that burns into Effect. So that's how you could burn it there. And Epiphany burns into Lucent.
So these are designed to deflate the matrix. So we're kind of doing what you suggested for ink, but we're just doing it for matrix tokens as well.
Right.
So we're not entirely unselfish. We also have a motive to. That was one of our big motives for doing this. Because
everything is for the benefit of the matrix, DeFi,
that we're doing
ultimately, isn't it?
Yeah, but it just so happens that it's in the benefit of the entire blockchain as well, because you're basically putting to use the system, which I'm sure Maria would have considered that. And like Maria, one of the things that Maria does is he kind of makes these tools, and then like he does all these things, and then we just kind of work it out as we go. He doesn't give us all the answers sometimes, or a lot of the times, and you kind of just like decode everything and figure it out. But I'm sure he knew this, and I'm sure he was probably like, why are people not seeing this fact? Okay, so all right, we got 250 people in the chat, so let me just go through some of these questions or comments.
Steve, I was just reading one. It says, I was providing LP 600k pDAI for 50 million PLS. It's now gone down to 400k pDAI and 80, so he's desperate to get it back. Now, if that was pDAI and MXDAI, he would have the same amount of pDAI as on the start.
Permanent loss, right?
That was this one here.
No, not Malphite. It was Hexologist or something, or Hexo something.
I was this one's.
That's it.
And I had 600 pDAI with like 50 million pulse. Now I have 400k pDAI and 80 million pulse. Now I'm ready for pDAI to dip while pulse runs. So yeah, this is where impermanent loss. So this is impermanent loss in a liquidity pool. So that liquidity pool, you might be able to sell your 30 million pulse chain and you'd get maybe more than 200,000 pDAI. So those are the things where you have to, like, impermanent loss is not necessarily as straight cut as what the numbers look like. You kind of have to do a little. My next episode of the DeFi in 5 is going to be impermanent loss. So I'll show that in tomorrow's little 5-minute clip. But obviously with this system, it's 1-to-1. So the impermanent loss is like, it's negligible. It's irrelevant because it's 1-to-1. You're minting on one side, you're claiming on the other side, and it's maintaining a 1-to-1 through arbitrage. So that's also the beauty of something like this. I mean, really, anything that's stable and getting you yield is just, it's a liquidity provider's wet dream. Stability and yield. So when I did the video just today, 7 principles of a good liquidity pool, watch that and it's probably going to click more of what we're talking about and make it make sense. So let me just see if there's any questions in here. So man, you guys are awesome. Honestly, I mean, you guys here, DeFi and Richard, but even the chat, you guys are awesome for all the contributions. So I got some people here that I haven't seen before or haven't seen for a while. So what's going on? Happasai, Duke of Booze. Hey, my man, we talking craft beers here or what, brother? What's going on, Bud? Can you discuss the misconceptions of having millions of liquidity associated to pDAI and PulseX, but in theory, it's manipulated by token creation?
Wouldn't that be? You couldn't really do that so much with pDAI. Could you? You'd have to provide the pDAI for a token that you've made up. So at least half of that liquidity is real, surely.
I think the misconception of having millions of liquidity associated to pDAI and PulseX, but in theory, it's manipulated by token creation. So Hugh, it's manipulated by a number of factors. So you're correct. You are correct. And this is actually, I mean, we said we weren't going to talk about it, but this goes back to the point of the Hyperloop. This is why the Hyperloop is, it's actually a big risk. So even this, right? Even this, what we're talking about here with the claim, you're minting new tokens, you're adding it into liquidity, but you haven't really added any new liquidity into there. You've minted the token. Well, actually, it's better. It's better than a Hyperloop, actually, because you're basically swapping the pDAI for another token. So you're swapping that liquidity for another token, and then you're putting that in a liquidity pool. So there's no like.
I don't think he's talking about us here, is he? This year, this is probably more about the theory of what the pioneers are doing with CDAI, or potentially.
Well, actually, what you're doing is you are this gentleman Hugh Hefner is 100% correct. But what you are doing by moving pDAI into MXDAI is you're putting it into a much better managed pool that doesn't have any manipulation by token creation. You've now only got true liquidity in that pool, and that's partly why this process creates value, because you're moving from a coin, pDAI does have a whole lot of liquidity and token creation, which mixes in there, to a coin that just has its own properly created liquidity. So in fact, this is correct. But in the new instance, in the MXDAI instance, if you're providing liquidity between MXDAI and pDAI, that is a better representation of liquidity than what is being referred to here. It's quite difficult to explain.
What I want to do is I want to just show, well, this, okay, yeah. Let me just write this, because I think if I write it, it will be a bit clearer. So basically with this, you're changing, let's say you're changing $1, so you're subtracting $1 of liquidity in pDAI when you burn it, and you're adding $1 of MXDAI. So it's neutral. It's the same. Whatever the pDAI was, it's now converted into the MXDAI. Whereas with this Hyperloop scenario, you've got your pDAI, but then you're basically adding like $2 trillion worth of tokens. You're just minting 2 trillion tokens that you're then using to buy up the other token. And then like, I'm not even fully clear on the process. So I'm not even, it's just the concept of getting it to $1 overnight was just like that would just throw off every liquidity pool. It just would be like,
wouldn't that CDI, if we're talking about the CDI, Steve, if you mint say 2 trillion, as soon as you start buying it in that liquidity pool, you are just going to absolutely tank the price of that CDI down. It's not going to, it'll just be worth less and less. There's not going to be any more value in that liquidity pool. Or my understanding, happy to be wrong, but is that not the case?
Exactly, but I think there's more to it than that. But
right.
Even the added steps to it, irrespective of the added steps, it's still you've basically you're still mint. You're not sacrificing anything to mint those 2 trillion. So you've just added this big bubble into the system. Whereas this is literally just a neutral 1-for-1. The liquidity value stays the same. But this is really just like adding this gigantic bubble, which then bubbles up the whole chain, but there's still only this much liquidity in there. So I don't want to FUD it too much because, I cop a lot of flack, but just, so that's a really good question, actually. So regardless, the liquidity for both systems is still an issue. It's still going to need, this is not going to suddenly get pDAI to $1. It's going to get it there a lot faster, but it's going to get there by people buying up the token sustainably.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a much more interesting way of doing it, a much more sustainable way of doing it, but it still can be achieved in a fast way, just not in a overnight way.
Yeah.
So
I think as you burning pDAI and the price is kind of going up because of scarcity and people are like loving the process, that will attract people in from outside and that will improve liquidity because it's slow, right? It's a slow, regular, consistent process. I think that will attract liquidity from outside.
So this is a good question. I'm game. When I relearn this shizzle, how do I know it won't do a gifted tech? I burn gift on me. So I don't know too much about gifted tech, but it's just not possible with the code to do this. It's fixed by the code. So you can either burn it or mint or claim it. To my understanding, and I'm not a dev, so I don't know if there can be some sort of like, what do you guys know much about gifted
Never
tech?
heard of it. No, but as far as grifting, the only side of grift that could happen, not that it could happen, but would be price. Someone would dump the price, in which case, if they dump the price of any one of these, you could then buy it. It'd just be an opportunity for you to actually make more money if the price went down, because you could then burn or claim. You'd arb it, wouldn't you? Yeah, arb both sides. So I don't know what this gifted tech is, but I can't see
I would say this is no less risky than buying ATROPA, right? It's the same dev, the same contracts, or buying Teddy Bear. It's the same.
That's
You know,
a good point.
it's all Maria, right?
Yeah. So whatever risks that you perceive in the ATROPA ecosystem and with Maria, you would rightly apply it to this. It's the same risk factor. Gifford Tech was a different dev, and I don't fully know what happened there. I think the price went up. I think it had something to do with the way that they created the liquidity pools, and they ended up just getting screwed over by people or something. I'm not too sure, so I'd have to look into it more. All right, so what else we got here? So Mr. Rock Jockey, haven't seen Mr. Rock Jockey for a while. It will be Hyperloop, lads. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think people realize how DTF I am for a Hyperloop. I'm so DTF for that. Like, honestly, I'm totally okay with being a multimillionaire overnight. I'm down with that. But
I've never lost a streak of magic internet money in my hope. Much to the chagrin of DeFi, who tries to bring me back down. But it'd be amazing. I've known, the thing is, and I still know, and I'll take it to my grave, like pDAI's grave in March. Remember that image? That pDAI will be $1, and that's why I bought it to begin with. I don't know necessarily the exact mechanism and the time frames or by how, but it will be $1. And this could very well be a huge contributing factor to it. Which is a DeFi. None of us know, do we? None of us actually really know. If anyone could actually poo-poo the idea of it going to a peg overnight, and there's other things, factors in play that we don't understand. That's amazing. But the reality, back to reality, is of it. If you're saying that, we're not going to wait for that. We're building, and one way or another, pDAI will be $1.
If you're not driven by hopium, if you're a common sense sort of person, if you acknowledge that we need to burn the supply of pDAI, if you can sort of add a couple of numbers together, then this mechanism where you are burning pDAI for MXDAI, a one-to-one interchangeable token, is a guaranteed way, and I'm not saying that word lightly, it's a guaranteed way to get the price of pDAI up. How long would it take to get to $1 with this mechanism? It depends how quickly people burn their pDAI. If $12 billion worth of pDAI was burned tomorrow, yeah, I think that would pump the price. But I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But how quickly are people going to adopt this? It would be a big factor in how quickly the price increases.
And let's be extra clear on just this, because it's such it's so wildly important. Let's be extra clear on this, extra. So when the ratio is coming down here, pDAI is the hottest narrative token, pDAI. Well, oh no, I've burnt my pDAI to get MXDAI, and basically I can't swap my MXDAI back for one-to-one because now pDAI is so overpriced. So I'm losing my value. So then there's this fear of I'm losing my pDAI. But now you can effing claim it for one-to-one. It doesn't matter what the price is. This exists irrespective of the price. So if the price is going down, if the price is down here, you claim your pDAI back with your MXDAI. That's it. That's
Steve, then what do you do? You then buy MXDAI and keep doing that until you end up with more tokens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you just buy it back. You buy you buy pDAI back up, and you have more pDAI, MXDAI rather. You just buy it back up. It's like.
And if you've LP'd it, you've got yield as well. It's like a no-brainer, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's yield and arbitrage. It's like, and again, you don't have to, if you're like, oh, that doesn't make any sense to me, this is too complicated, just provide liquidity with a small amount and watch the community do the work for you. You just sit back on your pDAI earning yield. And if you're really so precious about your pDAI, and you're like, well, when it gets to $1, I'm gonna have all this. You'll see that it's literally just gonna do this all the way along. It's just gonna do this all the way along. I can't see a scenario based on how I understand this mechanism where this can wildly go out. The only time that I can see this wildly go out is if we have some kind of scenario where there's like an epic. Well, actually, it would be in reverse, and actually, this makes it. Honestly, I kind of hope. this is bad to say, but I kind of hope for some cataclysmic event of like a pDAI dump, because then you're going to have these ridiculous ratios. Like, I mean, this is very sensible ratio, but you will have these ridiculous ratios. If pDAI has this wild dump all of a sudden, you'll have this ridiculous ratio.
Buy back a lot of pDAI and then repeat.
And then you just burn your pDAI for the MXDAI, and then you sell the MXDAI down and you bring the ratio back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's amazing. It's really, 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 really amazing. And then on the okay, so let's be rational here. So then
also,
again,
Steve, so you do that, you're going to be doing it, bringing it back to parity, and all the time you'll be increasing your token count. And if you're in liquidity, that volatility means you're going to be earning more.
Exactly.
No brainer, isn't it? It's brilliant.
And then again, one thing about the liquidity in this is something that I did for the 7 principles, is no whales. No whales. Because a whale could, if there was a gigantic whale in this system, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If the whale is like, you know who the whale is, you're like, yeah, they're gonna protect the system. They're not going to dump on me. They're not going to dump all their MXDAI all of a sudden and leave. Then, okay, there's that risk factor. But if it's like a community of tight-knit people that there's no one that can affect the price chart like that with the MXDAI to make it do this, for example, to dump the MXDAI into pDAI.
I think if the community is big, you're never going to see that deviation from the peg, because there's always going to be someone that jumps in, like when it's at 0.99, someone's going to jump in and buy it up. It's never, ever going to go far off.
Yeah. You absolutely do. For we've already seen it, haven't we? Because people are making profit. Profit, you use the term loosely. They may have made a few cents, but in their mind, they've made 500 tokens, which one day will be $500. Yeah, so it's all that long-term play. And yeah, you're right. The whole matrix system, which is one of the things that really attracted me to it when DeFi was on your show first talking about it, is that it was whale-proof. I joined the chat and I got involved when there was about 60 members, and some of the absolute OGs were laughing when they're going, do you remember when we had to buy Mandala $2 at a time to then add to liquidity to build it up? There's no whales in the community. You don't necessarily don't want that. And I know we're saying there's going to be a lot of pDAI to be burned, but if that number does get like big as we hope, that's going to be the user base will be big as well. It's not going to be one big player. It's going to be a lot of positions like myself where we haven't got. You've got to be careful. You don't want to throw your money away, do you? Because we want to see price appreciation. We want to win in crypto in that sense. And I mean, it literally didn't dawn on me really so much. This happened about an hour before the show, Steve. When we were looking at that, when you showed that 2.4%, I just thought, why the hell have I got any pDAI? Or at least burn it half and put it in. Now we've got this plan because I'm going to be earning. Because that is the thing. When my pDAI is $1, I'm not selling. I want to live off the earning. My pDAI is generally not in liquidity at the minute because I don't want to see it disappear like the old matey boy in the chat said. But here, it's not going to disappear. It's beautiful. It's actually beautiful.
Actually, the other interesting thing here is that if you're worried about the MXDAI liquidity, someone asked me that. How could I sell my MXDAI if there's no liquidity? Well, you just claim it back into pDAI and sell it into a pDAI liquidity pool. So you've got zero problem with liquidity as well, right?
There is liquidity.
Of course, you've got the bigger issue with liquidity, but for smaller amounts, right? Yeah.
Yeah, literally earning yield on a future dollar stablecoin, and you've already established a liquidity pool that is 1-to-1 that you're earning yield on. This is something I saw Bud in here as well. What's going on, Bud? This is something Bud and I have spoken about a lot.
We love Bud. We love Bud's insights to his liquidity. It'd be really interesting.
Bud's very wise. Yeah,
I'd be really interested to hear his take on this.
I'd be interested to hear his take on this as well, actually.
If you're out there, matey.
As a matter of fact, if anyone wants to join, can I invite people?
You can, can't you, sir?
So I just wonder if I can add it to the.
You should be. Do you want me to add it to the chat?
I can add it to the chat, but I don't know if you can click the link from the chat or not. So, but anyway, if anyone wants to come up here and even maybe discuss some concerns or the validity of this idea, because just the way that I operate is like, it was the same as the ATROPA ecosystem. I get a feel for it first. My consciousness just gets blown away and it all just makes sense in my heart. But I'm like, okay, how the hell do I now deconstruct this in a way to make it make sense? It just, my heart's just like, that's correct. There's something about this that's totally right. And that's exactly when you, as soon as you told me about this claim thing, I'm just like, fuck. I've just been on one. I've been like on another plane. I'm just too excited. So I can't see a flaw in it. I cannot see a flaw in it, but I definitely would love to be able to like dissect any flaws, or, you know, because I did see a flaw in it before and I mentioned it. I mentioned this flaw that, well, if pDAI keeps going up, unless there's buyers that come in, unless there's buyers that keep buying the tokens, then it's eventually going to fail. But because the ratio, the reason why it went up was because of buyers. And if you run out of buyers who go, you know, like basically unless the community grows, you run out of buyers, right? But now, even with the existing community, this maintains stability because of the claim function. That's the beauty. So that negates that issue. I'm all about trying to like find solutions and get rid of the negative externalities, as Richard would say. So yeah, I'd love for anyone to ask anything that they see as a problem, because I can't see any. I can't see any. And I just see this as like mega bullish for pDAI. And again, even if there's a Hyperloop scenario, in a liquidity pool like this, you become a winner. You become a winner in a liquidity pool like this.
Steve, you say this, you can't see the negatives, nor can I. I'll ask the people if they're interested in this. We also have 2 other children, and everything we do is for the matrix. So why don't you bag yourself a liquidity position in Mandala and Effect and Epiphany and Lucent as well, just a small one, because at any point you can then redeem the child for the parent. But what we're doing is burning our matrix, and we only have 1 billion supply. There's not 45 billion like pDAI. So we're going to see, what do you call it? DeFi system shock or supply shock?
Supply shock. Yeah. We've only got 1 billion supply in these coins. So we probably got to launch a child for every single matrix coin, and just burn the matrix down. And it's so achievable because the supply is so small. It's only 1 billion tokens. We've already burned like 30 million Epiphany tokens. So we have to plug the matrix, because, you know, I'd hate people just to come in here and only buy MXDAI. I mean, it is a coin that the Mandala matrix created. So it would be great if people could also support the matrix itself, the way that Richard just suggested. Yeah, I would say that it'd be great. Of course, it'd be great. But personally, not shilling, I actually think it'd be a very, very wise thing to do. It's like almost a bit like single-sided liquidity. It's like single-sided staking, where you could lock up your coin, and at the end of the period of time, you'll end up with more coins. Take your coin, split half of it into the child, put it in liquidity. At any point, when you take it back out, you could turn it all into one or the other, and you've got more tokens than when you began.
Will this give me contract addresses on here as well?
Yeah. If you go to the top in that first tab, portfolio overview, the top one overview, it's a little bit, like I guess, overview. You'll get all 15. Just scroll down. You get all 15 matrix token contract addresses, and then we've added the children at the bottom. So what are you looking for, Mandala?
Yep.
DAI to Mandala. Are you buying some with DAI? Are you?
Yeah, Bob. Boss.
I'm not sure DAI's got the best liquidity pool at Mandala, but DeFi you'd know. In fact, Mandala's got the most liquidity pools, isn't it? Because it acts like a Pulsechain ETF.
I don't know if you could buy that much through DAI, but you could buy that much with Ink or something like that.
Yeah. PLSX. If you've got any PLSX, you could, or PSX or PLSX Ink.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd have to swap DAI for PLSX or something, or maybe.
Oh, I tell you what we do though. No, burn that DAI to MXDAI. There's a big Mandala pool with MXDAI.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good way to do it. That's a brilliant
good idea. Okay,
and then
that's a good
sell the
idea.
MXDAI into Mandala. Wow, that's going to give
And
might give someone some arbitrage profit as well.
And then there you go. Then the old MXDAI might take a little nosedive for a second before it all gets, and it would be good to see actually how it gets resolved.
So what I'll burn the DAI for MXDAI.
Yeah, and then sell the MXDAI for Mandala.
Well, actually, I mean, you could burn it, but you could also just buy it. I think the ratios.
Just buy it.
Just buy it. If you end up with a little bit more, then brilliant.
Oh, you might have to. Oh, it worked. And then you should burn your Mandala for effect and put that in an LP pool, because then not only have you bought Mandala, but you've also burnt it.
Yeah, but burn half of it into effect, then add that to the Mandala effect pool.
Okay, let's just slow down here, cowboys. I want to see the liquidity pool for Mandala and effects.
Sure. If you're on deck screen, if you just search effect or capital letters, you'll see it. Oh, you got it there. Beg your pardon. Oh, no. Take that off then, bud. If you've got the actual contract address, that's it.
Because I want to see Mandala and effect.
You've got the arbitrage. You see how close they are on our website as well. You can see like it's about 1 to 101. So
okay.
But people can see it quickly, but this is basically where you'd go to see the chart.
Mandala effect is not much, only 2,800.
Okay, I mean, look at that. What a fascinating thing. What a beautiful, fascinating thing. So, all right. So then what are we saying?
What I would say, So if what you're doing, but you've bought MXDAI, so now buy Mandala. But what I'd say is this claim is an absolute game changer. Those beautiful charts so far has been the community. We are blessed with the community that we have in the Mandala matrix. There's a couple of things I'd point out. There's been at least 2 or 3 people said in the chat. So this is what a nice place to actually talk and discuss in the group. We're just actually very polite, nice, general people. Maybe it's because the group is smaller compared to some other large groups where it gets a bit railroaded with memes and sayings. But it's really nice.
I think it did it, Steve. I think it did.
What?
I think it did it. The transaction went through.
Yeah, you got it. No, you haven't. Have you?
No, it said it wasn't going to go through due to slippage.
Right.
But so it's a great one. The pegs have been community backed completely with that confidence and just conviction. But now this claiming, it's really, really strengthened that peg.
Oh, massively. It works on both sides now. It's ridiculous. It's like, it's insane. It's, what can I say? What more can I say? So now I'm going to get effect. Got to go back to the.
Scroll now. Go down, Steve. Now that you've got scroll bar in there, so to your right there.
All right, so
here it is.
There we go. So I'm getting more tokens because of where the price is at the moment. At the end of the day, with all of this stuff, the best way to learn, you can listen as much as you want to people like me yapping on YouTube. The best way to learn is to just do it for yourself. Just make a little liquidity pool with like $5 or $10 and just watch the numbers and see the magic of providing liquidity. That's the best way to do it. So that's what I'm going to do now with this. And
I personally do, Steve, is when this is added, when you add it to PulseX and at the bottom it says your token count, I copy and paste that into a spreadsheet with a date, And then maybe a couple of weeks later, I'll just look at the token. Don't look at the dollar value. I look at the token count, because you'll go, oh, one's gone down a bit, but the other one's gone up. And then over time, both of them, even though they're going up and down, both of them are going up, aren't they? It's clever.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I would strongly recommend. You got to track your liquidity pools. If you want to learn, it's not just about making the liquidity pool. You actually got to track it as well, so you can see what it's doing. And then once you can see what it's doing,
our dev has written something to track the pools. It's called nsu.me. If anyone wants to take a look at that,
I'll put that in the link.
Yeah, we can put that on there.
what's that?
It's a brilliant, like a dashboard. You know, there's a few Pulse dashboards. It's a really good dashboard. It really does show your liquidity pools really well.
Yeah,
hang on a second. Hang on. What's the website? Hang on. Let me say again.
ensu.me.
ensu.me.
Yeah, ensu.me.
Effortlessly track your Pulsechain portfolio in one place.
So if you put your wallet into there, you'll see the liquidity positions that you've got in that wallet. It's really good at identifying all tokens. So, you know, some of the other brilliant sites that are out there, you do it and you think, where's half my money? It's because it's not picking up half your tokens.
But will it show the amount of tokens you had when you created it versus what it is now?
DeFi, was that what you meant about tracking it?
No, what it does is it gives you your current holding, the APR on the holding, and the US dollar you made for the day, and it gives you like some details on your portfolio.
Okay, well that's pretty cool. I don't want to connect my wallet to it just now, but
no, you can up the top left active wallet. I think you can just follow a wallet. So
you can add a wallet in there.
Yeah, just add a wallet, and then that way you're not connecting a wallet, you're just viewing that wallet. Yeah, you just
all right. Well, I'll just I don't want. Yeah.
Maybe do it another time then, bud, if you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's a good website. I use it to keep track of my portfolio among many other things.
Actually, give me a second. What I'll do is I'll do this instead. I'll just copy my wallet address. And then I'll add it there to add wallet. I mean, it doesn't really matter actually, because I just didn't want my other wallets to be visible, so I wanted to do it safely. Add wallet. You must be. You got to be connected to add a wallet. So
same dev as the Mandala website, Stephen. So
yeah, I'm just going to connect, and because I just want to see what it looks like. I mean, while you're talking about it, and then it's better to just kind of look at it. So I just want to make sure that it doesn't have all my liquidity pools on there, and it's only.
It would be whatever that wallet, whatever you got the wallet, it will show all the liquidity pools in that wallet.
Okay. Let me just, while that's loading up.
Yeah, it takes a moment.
Let me add the liquidity now for the Mandala. An effect. Oh, we got to max that out. Max that out. Hey, nice. The Mandala 333. 3337. Nice. I like it. All right. No tokens found. Oh, pools then, I guess. No liquidity positions found. It doesn't look like it could be what?
You could be working on it.
The dev might be.
Cannot add your current connected wallet. Yeah, maybe he's working on it because I can't see anything on here.
Yeah, there's new things every day on there, which is good.
Okay, all right. Yeah, same as the.
I was just going to say what I found that does show me the most to do with liquidity positions out of all the websites that I've used. But again, if you're new to this, on Pulsechain, it's just once you've put it, it shows you below, doesn't it, your coins, and it really is important to keep track of your tokens, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And that was the key that you were highlighting, where you try it, but then you track it as well. So then you actually know how much you put in, token numbers, not dollar, like you said, token number, and then watch what it does. Watch the impermanent loss, or maybe you're in a liquidity pool where it's plus on both sides. Yeah, really, really watch that. And I will be doing another episode in the DeFi in 5 on how to track your wallets as well. That's all going to be coming up. So it's all just time. Everything's just time. So, all right, let's have a look here. So was anyone RSR last cycle? Was anyone in RSR last cycle? Reminds me of pDAI. pDAI is way better and be so much bigger. I don't know what RSR. Oh, RSR. I think I kind of remember that. I don't. One day at a time. I like this, and I like his logo. He's got a Mandala logo.
Yeah,
good on you. One day at a time. And what a message! Just live today, one day at a time. You know, a bit of mindset alpha. I was listening to Kevin O'Leary the other day, and he used to work with Steve Jobs, and I think he's also like, I wouldn't say close with, but he understands Elon Musk to some degree. And he says, these guys who are hyper successful, yes, they have a long-term vision, but their mind is just like 100% focused on everything they need to get done for that day. They're not thinking about, that thing that I have to do tomorrow and the next day. It's like, what are the tasks that I need to finish today? And their ability to just do that and block out all the noise is like,
I wish I was that good at that.
So do I, man. So do I. I'm trying to get like that.
If I get to the allotment and water my plants today, that's it. That's my job. As long as I do that, I don't care about the rest of the day.
Well, I'll tell you, one thing that's really good that I've started doing, I used to do it a lot, and then I had a specific diary that used to track it, where it would have like your month goals, and then you pick three habits you want to change for the month, or 3, not too many. If you do too many, it's like overwhelming. So 3 is just like the perfect number. So 3 habits you want to change. You have a box for each of the days. And let's just say if one of the habits you want to build is do my one task a day, no matter what. By the end of the night, even if I go to bed later, I'm going to do that one task. And if you do that one task, then you tick it off. You did your one task. So for me, one of my goals is 3 tasks a day. So I do more than 3 tasks, but I set myself like the 3 most important tasks for the day. Because otherwise I just keep
You mentioned this recently, Steve, didn't you? You did mention this. I've
in a tweet, yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to share it again.
How's it been going? Have you just thrown the book away because it's depressing that you don't do it?
No. When I put my mind to something, I'm really quite good at doing it, especially because my mind is really clear. So I mean, I've only just started again with this this habit thing. So I mean, I'm 3 days in, but I'm, for example, like fasting. So I'm on my 3rd day of a water fast at the moment. So
well done. Tell me. I know in my heart that it's the right thing to do. But do you find yourself more energized now on day 3?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's like when your body goes into the when it starts burning your fat storages, then your energy's through the roof, and you're not focused on food. You're not distracted by all these things. You just do your work, because it's like, okay, lunchtime is coming up, and we waste so much time with food, cooking and cleaning and eating and washing dishes and brushing teeth, and so hyper focused, actually, a lot more energized. But there's kind of like a dullness to the energy before it starts to get into there. So like day 2 is always the hardest day. Day 2 is like, I really want to eat, but then your body starts kicking into like really burning.
I do the intermittent fasting. I find that as soon as I start eating in the day, I continue to eat. So I don't eat. I get up and I don't eat until gone 6 p.m. I eat like a lunatic afterwards from 6, but I have that whole period of time where I don't eat, and it's better. It's better than, I don't need the breakfast and the lunch.
It is, but don't necessarily eat like a lunatic.
No, I don't. No, that's not healthy. I was joking. I certainly do eat.
Okay.
I do break my fast.
Right,
but on my list very soon will be a 3-day fast, water fast, because by doing that can really break those bad habit ties. So I don't eat the sweets.
Yeah, big time. gut health reset, autophagy. There's so many benefits. So I'm doing like a hardcore detox for the next. I'm getting myself ready for a big meditation education at the end of or middle of August. So I'm doing like a really intensive 7 weeks of like detoxing, getting my body and mind right. It's pretty good, but there's things that need to be corrected. So I'm now trying to correct them before that time because I want to be like on point when I get there to do that. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of fasting over the next few weeks.
So have you got your LP position right here, Steve-O?
I do. I've got my LP position, so that's been created, that's been added. So
at the bottom of that page shows you your token count. That's what you could have copied over if you was tracking it, couldn't you?
Oh, well, I mean, basically the way that I would do that,
yeah.
I guess I'm not really going through that process now because I was going to do
it.
Yeah,
yeah. So you've made the LP in Mandala in effect. There it is.
And I would instantly write down these numbers. Instantly, I'd write down those numbers. I also like to look at the volume of the pool as well. You can't see it here, unfortunately. There's not enough data. There's not enough data and liquidity. So you can.
I think you find that
on the website. Right.
Go on, DeFi.
I say
that's on your website.
You sell on the website portfolio, and then you have to portfolio, then pools, and then you can.
Yeah. So obviously in this instance for this, then you guys have got all this information here, which is brilliant, but you do have some other liquidity pools that you won't be able to see that in, which is kind of annoying, but yeah. So obviously, yeah, you can look at it here. So if we go to Mandala effect.
Just search for one.
Just search for effect and you'll see the free pools.
Okay. Nice. That's 6%, 5.84% on a stable coin.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. It's pretty damn good.
It's not a stable coin. It's stably pegged. You still get all the price appreciation.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by stable coin. Yeah, not stable to a dollar, but yeah, stable to each other.
How good's that?
All right. I mean, that's brilliant. So, okay, so just burned 2,500 pDAI and minted 2,500 MXDAI. Economically, I'm $14 in profit on that burn. Yeah, because obviously the price went up.
Yep.
After I bought MXDAI. So there we go.
That's great to hear that, and it's great that could give people the conviction to do it. But the long term, isn't it? It's about the long term. Don't worry about that dollar price. Look at your tokens, and especially if you put
exactly. That's the thing. Like long term delayed gratification, but also long term mindset. I really believe Pulsechain is going to win. So I want to accumulate as many tokens as I possibly humanly can right now, because there's going to come a day where you're going to look back on, just like we do with Hex, even though the Hex price is down a lot, but the day one Hexicans, which I was one of them, you look back on those days where you could get Hex for the prices that you could. You just can't do that anymore, even though it's done a massive down spike. So after we have this bull market and a bear market, you'll never be able to get the amount of tokens for these prices, I would think, across the chain.
So there's your 5.84% with that one. Have a look at Lucent. If you search LCNT, that's our Lucent token, you'll see the Epiphany Lucent parent-child pair here as well. I'll be really interested to see what the APR is on that. So that's it, Lucent to Epiphany, like 1%.
So 1%.
It's been a bit more quieter, but hopefully there'll be a bit more activity now. People appreciate. They can literally... And what's very unique, Stephen, is that, yes, any community could do this, but unless they set their community up like the Matrix, only the Matrix has this unique feature, is that from Mandala, Maestro, Geisha, all down to Epiphany, which is the last coin, they move as one. So when the price of one increases, it does it to all. So if you want to help your Mandala out, go and buy some more Epiphany, because it will make Mandala go up. And then split out. If you want to help your Epiphany, go and buy more. It helps each other. They help. They all move as one. So then, if, as DeFi alluded to, we might release another child. And if we do, whatever coin that's attached to, when people buy that coin, to then burn half of it to pair up in liquidity, they are helping all of their coins in the matrix, which is why it's brilliant that everything is for the overall benefit of the matrix.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Obviously, with Mandala, like this is the thing. Everybody wants to make their own communities and tokens, which is it's okay. Like, but it's also good to get behind things that are established and logically and mathematically sound, which the Mandala ecosystem is. I mean, you've got 80% of the tokens that are burnt. So,
and thanks to DeFi for creating it, and thanks for having him on your show, Stephen, which is where I heard about it, because I'm all over the matrix now. I'm probably the biggest fan, their biggest fan for sure.
Where does Maria and ATROPA fit into?
Stephen's biggest fan.
What's that? Sorry, DeFi.
And I said I'm your biggest fan, mate.
Oh. Thanks, fellas.
Well, it's like for like makes like, doesn't it? Bring in same frequencies into your field, don't you?
And the feeling's mutual. And you know what I love about this, guys? Like, you know, this claim thing was there, and like you guys have figured this out, and then we've shared it, and we've all learned together, and that's awesome. That's what I love, man. That's just so beautiful. That's like real community.
Well, that's why it was on the website within an hour. You know, morally, it would be dishonest of us not to share and give everybody the knowledge.
It's brilliant. So, Matt Yeater, if you're watching this, there's those buttons. Hopefully, that you can all see them with your screen reader. Where does Maria and the ATROPA fit into this scenario? So, UFO to go. Basically, Maria created the Treasury System. So all the child token system, that's Maria. Mandala is inspired by the ATROPA ecosystem, and that's created by DeFi Pulse Pro. And MXDAI is one of their tokens, but it's launched off a contract that Maria created, which is the V3 Minter. So that's how Maria fits into this, and the ATROPA ecosystem fits into this. And really, it's all this whole thing is doing is just expanding continuously the web of interconnections across Pulsechain. If MXDAI is mintable, does that mean that MXDAI have infinite supply? No, it doesn't. So that's a really, really good question. So its supply is capped at the supply of pDAI. So the maximum amount that you're ever going to be able to mint is 44 billion. But obviously, logically speaking, you'll never get that, because a lot of the pDAI is in liquidity elsewhere and in people's wallets, but that would be its maximum mint amount. So yeah, the concept of like, oh, this can be minted into oblivion, like you just wouldn't do that. In order to mint it, you're burning your pDAI. So unless someone is wildly passionate about MXDAI, I don't see someone doing that to all their pDAI. I don't see them just like nuking. I just don't see that kind of scenario happening. So yeah, it's not infinite, but that fear of like, you know, there's always this fear of like infinite minting that doesn't exist here. Us Hexologist Heart already clarified that. Thank you, Hexologist Heart. So Malphite, no, it doesn't have a 1 million token supply limit. 1 billion rather. That's when the multiplier goes up. So actually it's less than 44 billion, because once it gets to 1.1 billion, it will go to 2 to 1.
Yeah. In which case, perhaps the game theory would be that the matrix DAI becomes twice the price of pDAI.
That's what will happen. That's what will happen.
Then we're going to have a $2 coin.
Correct.
Incentive to burn quickly, I think, because the 100th or the 1,000,000,001 burn is going to double the price of matrix DAI, basically. Although, of course, the market will shift it up as we get close to 1 billion. That's what's going to happen. Got Stephen thinking about that one. It's because MXDAI becomes scarce relative to pDAI. You have to burn more.
I understand that. So then basically, instead of it being 1-to-1, get rid of all these blue lines.
Either that or just stop the burning of pDAI. People wouldn't want to burn it for that, and then it stays as that, and now we've got our supply. But if people continue to burn the pDAI, then the incentive would be that actually the price would be worth more. So one of those two things would play out then. But it's not stopping us from, or anyone, but you then create your next child, so you can continue to burn pDAI at that 1-to-1 ratio.
Correct.
And you'll have another stable coin. And before you know it, you put liquidity in all the free pools and you're earning and earning and earning.
Yeah, so then the ratio would move down to there, really. I can't, like, I understand what you're saying, but it's still like, okay, then that shifts if that goes to 2-to-1 value, then it shifts. Like,
well, the question is, what's the claim? What happened to the claim once it goes past?
It'll be 1-to-1.
Always 1-to-1.
It'll still be as far as I know, it'll always be 1-to-1.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit tricky if it is always 1-to-1, because then you lose the effectiveness.
Well, but that's then.
We've got some time, right? We've got to burn 1 billion pDAI before we get there. So I think we'll work out exactly what we need to do before we get to that point.
Yeah, I think my gut feeling would
probably
be
just
where we'd reach the supply limit for MXDAI, and then maybe hopefully other communities will be doing similar to help burn it, or obviously better to join our community. But either way, burn pDAI quickly.
Well, I guess what you could do then to negate that is you make another minter off MXDAI. So MXDAI becomes the parent. So then you're burning MXDAI. I don't know. There'll be something to do. We'll figure it out when we get there.
I think it's going to be beneficial. I mean, obviously, I think when Maria did this, what he was trying to do was give value to MXDAI to make it an important token. Or not to MXDAI, to the child token. And that's what this mechanism does. It effectively increases the value of the child token relative to the parent so that it remains important. And that is, I think, what Maria was trying to accomplish. So it's definitely a good thing. We just have to figure out how to make it work when we get there.
I think so. Yeah. Burning is key going forward. I agree. But what about the constant minting of pDAI using the C tokens like CF?
They're locked up, I think, aren't they? That's what I understand. But yeah.
Yeah. So you basically need to mint, like, I think the math that they worked out was 2 trillion pDAI, but it doesn't go into liquidity. It goes into the there was another word, and 99 Capital mentioned it. See, this is the problem where it's like I should be like totally in sync with what he's saying in the lingo and the words, and like I don't fully understand it. It just, yeah. What was the word that they used? Because I got corrected by decentralized me as well. It doesn't go into liquidity. The tokens go in, like, they go into something else. They go into collateral. Not liquidity. So yeah, they go into collateral with the CF, but just it still doesn't negate the issue of the liquidity in all the other tokens. So if you're, yeah, I won't go down that avenue now, but yeah, I think it's something that we're trying to work out, Numerian. It's something that we're trying to work out. And look, here's the thing: if the Pulsechain pioneers are behind this, and they're these geniuses, they would already know that if that avenue has a flaw, then they just won't do it. So yeah, that's just kind of the way that I look at it. But I do love to try and work it out. I'm like obsessed with problem solving. pDAI moving, and look at MXDAI. It is following pDAI 1-to-1. No one else is giving you this info. Thanks, Hexologist Heart.
That's nice. Thank you.
I'm just going to see if there's any questions here. We got Mandala Mark. What did he say? Hey guys, hope everyone's well. Just catching up while on my lunch break here at work. Great stuff with everyone. Good on you, Mandala Mark.
We love Mandala Mark. He made the video for the intro to our videos. So big up, Mark.
Oh, good on you, Mark. Isn't that beautiful when just the community comes together?
Yeah, everything is community made. All of our artworks by one of our members who actually does the mandalas in real life and takes photos. It's brilliant. It's all community run. We are the Matrix.
It's beautiful. Was that DeFi Jones?
Not DeFi Jones. His name's just D in there, I believe.
Ah, okay.
But there's a tab in the Telegram for artwork. It's large. It's all populated by D. It's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
There's an extra 7738 MXDAI in the pool, so it's almost 1-to-1 now.
I think that was earlier on when you did a bit of buy-in or add-in. It just put it close right back up to that.
Ah, okay.
An older message.
So what's going on? Conspiracy Crypto, DeFi Z.
Hey.
So feed them cake. Claim is just, it's basically just, it's the same process, but it's on the opposite side. So you're basically burning one token. Yeah, it's just the opposite. So when it's above, you burn pDAI to mint MXDAI. When it's below, you sacrifice your MXDAI. So you hand it back to claim pDAI. It's 1-to-1. So yeah, that was all on this. You can see it here. It's very simple. So when you burn your pDAI, when it's 1-to-1 for the arbitrage, and then on the opposite end, it's always going to remain 1-to-1. Always 1-to-1. Only pioneering minds took a chance on pDAI. pDAI to $1. Yeah, let's go Hexist. Stephen, what you're seeing is that as this chat is going on, MXDAI keeps going price positive against pDAI.
Maybe it's the moves people are making, but either way, it's pegged. But yeah, let's have a look at the chart.
0.99 now, so slightly below, right?
But look, 996. If you're gonna round it up to anything,
yeah, 1.
Right. Yeah, and that, I mean, that buying just came from a little bit of my buying, so
it doesn't take a lot.
Or it could be the claim process kicking in, right? I think that's happened over the last hour or so. Probably some people claiming and buying back.
Right. And so now let's just show the process. Let's show what it does on the chart. So instead of, so I had, did I still have any MXDAI left? Or did I use it all? Let me just see. I got 2,500 MXDAI for pDAI. So let's do that. Let's do that right now just to show everyone what this actually means. So I'll just do the maximum amount. So I'm going to get my pDAI back, which I swapped before. So look at this, 2,500, 2,500.
We can't see that, but yeah, no. Oh, it says it there. Sorry, yes. I thought you meant your wallet opened up. No, yeah, exactly. It's 1-to-1. But you will
2,500, 2,500. Yep. So we'll wait for this to go through.
But if you look on your transaction, people, when you do it, you may find, that it's actually 2,500.04281 or whatever the exact is. You get it exact. It is 1-to-1, 100%.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I've just literally, I didn't put my
you're putting that in. You appreciate, you appreciate when you actually look at transactions and you buy something. If you look on Pulsechain and you say you've got that, you might in reality have an extremely tiny bit more or less.
You hit approve, Stephen. Did you actually hit the claim?
There you go. You just approved it. Now you got to claim it.
Oh, right. But why is it not letting me do the maximum amount though?
Yeah, I just do 2,500 or something.
Okay.
Probably because that balance there is just being rounded off to something. I'll tell you why that is. You could click that maximum and just take the last digit down by 1 because it's just rounded it up, and you haven't actually got 0.728056. You've probably got 0.05578 or whatever. Yeah.
Gotcha. Good point. Very good point. It is. Yep. All done. So successfully claimed 2,500 pDAI. Now I go back here.
And you didn't know what you had to begin with.
It's just doing the same, but on the opposite, man.
There you go. Oh, you got it there.
So I don't know why that number hasn't reduced yet.
Give it a minute. There you go. Gone. And there you are. The other one's got up as well. Just saw that.
But
The reason why this is
Okay, so it's
laggy,
just below.
this is not the actual pool you get to trade through. You get to trade through the PLS pools, which is why on Pulsex you get a slightly different price to the actual exchange rate that you're looking at. Because Pulsex doesn't trade through that pool. Necessarily trade through that pool.
So, Stephen, on the Mandala website, if you go to the middle button, Arbitrage, it will show you here. This is the actual related to the PLS prices. So you look, you'll see it. That's the price of what pDAI is to PLS, and that's the price of what. So MXDAI is actually valued slightly higher at the moment through the PLS pools.
Gotcha.
Because that's really where it works. What I've learned from DeFi is that it's all about Pulse. It's all about PLS, all the pools and the ARB bots. It's all about the PLS.
Right. Okay. So this is more accurate than Dex Screener.
So then when Malphite said that it's going up, Malphite's one of the OG community members, really tirelessly working to help us. And he's obviously looking at this because he knows it and he's seeing that green on that side.
Gotcha. So in other words, here the better option then is to let's do this. So I mean, what I normally do is I'll just see what the numbers are.
It's so tiny, you're not going to make any money out of it, really.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, it's going to be the same that way. So it'd probably have to be like way less, like 500. But even 500 now is a couple of bucks.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's not a big enough. Discrepancy, but yeah, it at least shows the process.
Indeed.
Okay, so because burning the parent into the child when the child-parent ratio is greater than 1 and then selling the child for the parent does make sense, but it seems like the ratios hardly ever peak above 1.
Well, this is it. They used to a bit more, but this claim potentially might make it. I think it might make it to DeFi. I think it might make it oscillate a bit more, but get back to peg super quick.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think there's going to be much profit in the ARBs. I mean, maybe bots come in at some point, right, and do this. Maybe, I don't know.
But I guess the reason why he's highlighting that is, well, why would I burn my pDAI for MXDAI when the ratio mostly stays below?
Well, you do that for the long-term incentive of reducing the supply of pDAI and getting its price up. And that's really what we educate in the community. If the price is like close to 1, then don't worry, just burn, because that's the real objective. Yeah, the real objective is to burn, right? Because we want to make pDAI scarce. So this is what Oxiator was talking to me about. He was saying, why would I burn? I said, well, you burn because you want to reduce the supply of pDAI, not because you want to make a profit on the ARB. So what is happening here is we're just pegging it. Now you can just be confident that it's going to be pegged and focus on burning. Just focus on burning your pDAI, pairing it up, earning the yield, etc.
But moreover, it is a bit. It's hard, isn't it, DeFi, to see it exactly, because you have to look at a number of charts, because the MXDAI and DAI chart, when people are buying and selling it, that's actually going through the PLS charts. You have to then wait for the ARB bots to come and fix it. So you never really, it's hard to see that one-to-one, like that chart you're showing. But for all intents and purposes, it is one-to-one, because as what we've done on the website, show it through the PLS price, which is giving everything its dollar value.
Well, you can see there, Stephen, you are making a profit, $60, right? If you do that burn. But whether you'll be able to capture that, I don't know, because now you're selling that many MXDAI, you're not going to get the equivalent. You're going to lose on slippage and fees. And so, the game here isn't the ARB. The game here is to burn pDAI to $1. And be confident that the two are one-to-one and interchangeable.
Yeah, and basically add to liquidity.
Add to liquidity, passive earn for your pDAI yield, but this whole mint and burning and now claiming as well initiative that we're doing at the Matrix started as, and always will be, even aside from pDAI, about the good of the matrix. You know, they're making the price appreciation of the matrix. So getting in a position in the matrix, in my non-financial advice way, really good option to do. Really good thing to do.
I'm still waiting for those tokens to come through, though. It said it minted it.
Check your wallet, buddy, because I think it's a little bit slow on that site. Does it say is it still pending in your wallet?
True. If that's the case, I will need to.
You might be able to speed it up or just wait.
No, it's not pending. That's strange.
What does it say? Does it say complete?
I mean, I just saw the website say, I'll have a look at my transactions. Unknown transaction, Mandala, 1 minute ago. Okay, so interacted with to mint. Unless because it's just being updated and everything, perhaps it's not quite working yet. I mean, it will work on
check your Pulsex. If it's there, it should be updated. What was the last thing you did? Did you just mint some more MXDAI?
Failed with message, DAI insufficient allowance.
There you go. So maybe it's just by the way it rounds up, because did you hit max again?
No, maybe I just put too many numbers. 1, 2.
Are you trying to mint more money than you've got? Maybe there's one too many ones.
No, it shouldn't have. Burn. Look, I'll bring it up.
Go on, bud.
I'll bring it back up. Burn. I'm quite certain this is what I did before, but it just told me that the burn was failed. So yeah, fail with insufficient allowance.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's possible that you just did too many. I don't know.
Yeah. It sounds like you're looking for more than you had in the wallet.
3,000.
I mean, this is blockchains. I mean, I'm sure it will eventually work, and it will work on the Treasury System website anyway. I know the Treasury System works. I've used it. So
yeah. But you've used this today as well. It does work. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a failed transaction. You get them from time to time, don't you?
Yeah, there's a few failed transactions though. But
was it? Have you tried again?
I've done it 3 times now, so I think maybe it's probably just I don't know.
No, hang on, but have you got enough? Maybe it's doing it 3 times. Did you?
No, I've definitely, because look, 5, so I've got 33,800 and something, and I've put 11,101. And if I put another one, it will say insufficient balance. So I've definitely got enough. I might have just maybe just refresh it.
You're trying to burn. What are you trying to burn? More pDAI?
Yeah, pDAI.
Stephen, it could be teething problems. It's only been up an hour, right? So
exactly, that's what I'm saying. So it could just be some kind of issue with some kind of plugin, and But I know it definitely. Look here, successfully minted. I know it definitely will work because
there you go. It's done, is it? Brilliant.
No, because it's done that 3 times now.
Oh,
so
and then you check your wallet. Well, okay. Well, yeah, maybe
it's just teething issues. But in any case, I can do it on the Treasury System.
Correct.
One as well.
I'm just going to try burning some on my side, see if I can do it.
All right, let me just... This has all been updated as well, man. Import token, so select a minter, so V3. And then the child token is MXDAI. Successfully. And then mint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just one of these things that happens with blockchains.
Yeah. I generally find, you just go, I just walk away, make a cup of tea, and when I come back and press it again, it works.
I've just burnt as well, and it works. So I have no idea why.
Maybe you needed to refresh your browser. Maybe it's
I think it's when these sorts of things happen, it's usually like you disconnect and you reconnect and it will work. And that it's happened with the Treasury System as well. So let's see now, successfully minted through the Treasury System. Let's see if it's done it. It's just one of those things that happens with blockchain and these websites when you click things too fast. And
I think you're right. It's actually potentially trying to do it on a wallet that you've changed or something. So disconnect, reconnect, and you generally
exactly. Here we go. See, it worked on Treasury System, so it would just be a connection issue with the wallet. So now I've burnt 11,111 pDAI, and I've just made a liquidity pool, and that's I've just added now to the cause.
Good man.
$620.
Nice.
120. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So
Stephen,
0.83% now. I think I own 1% of the pool, or just over 1%, or just under 1%, actually.
You're a true friend of the Matrix, sir.
I'm now
actually,
one with the Matrix.
You know what is very good? It's V3 is very good to add liquidity to, because you can concentrate it in that tight range. So we'll probably build something on the website to help people add to V3 liquidity.
There we go. Nice. Just under 1%. So, all right. You can do, let's see. That's a good idea, Hexologist Heart. I take pics with my phone when I make LP positions to track my ratios. Very good. Good idea. Autophagy is a meme. Energy is from activating stress hormones. Not worth it, but it's okay to do the occasional. Interesting. Autophagy can be quite bad as the tissue is dying by being broken down for energy. No, that's not what autophagy... autophagy can be bad as the tissue is dying. So autophagy is when the body's cleaning up the dying tissue, the dead tissue. It's the body's process for doing that. So I don't know what your understanding of autophagy is, but I'm like, that's not my understanding of autophagy. It kills the bad cells in your body, which are also killing. If you've got a dead decaying cell, it's polluting all the good cells around it. That's what's causing the damage. And then autophagy comes along and the cells come and clean up all those dead ones. So then the ones that were dying around that dead one stop dying. So it's, unless you've got a different understanding of autophagy, that's not how I've understood it.
Okay, so you 1% of that pool now, did you say, Stephen?
Correct. Yep.
Awesome.
All right. I'll never burn my pDAI for MXDAI. Too risky. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't see where the risk is coming from. I'd love to hear where you think the risk comes from. Like it's literally interchangeable, and we've just shown that. So I'm not sure where that sentiment comes from.
Understandable though. This pDAI is the most coveted bag, so it's understandable, and that you don't jump in.
Maria has nothing to do with
you're right.
Mandala. No, this is also true. And MXDAI is just it's a token launched from like I understand what you're trying to say with your risk parameters of like, okay, this is a trusted dev, so I'm only going to do things from that trusted dev, which is the ATROPA dev. But it's not really
No,
valid.
Stephen, it's been answered in the chat. This is an old message, so it has been explained that the only link we have is that we're using the V3 contract.
Okay, all right, yeah, but even though it's explained in the chat, it's always good to address it live as well. So, all right, so correct me if I'm wrong. Hey, and first, hey, yes, definitely listen to Hexologist Heart. 13 likes. Come on, fam. There's 4, 5, 7, 8 watching. All right, correct me if I'm wrong, but one implication of this now working both ways is that low liquidity is no longer an impediment for putting up huge amounts of liquidity on both sides.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep, the Mandala matrix ecosystem. Until now, if you mint millions of MXDAI but can't claim back one-to-one into pDAI, you wouldn't be able to get back into pDAI without huge slippage. Correct. So there was that risk because of the direction that the chart was going. And if buyers get exhausted, then there is that risk. But now the risk is not there. You literally burn your pDAI. Well, actually, the one risk which is possible, so it's definitely worth addressing. You can only claim back the amount that's on the contract. So let's be clear on this.
But that's equal to all the MXDAI in circulation. So you can always claim the MXDAI in your wallet. There's always.
Okay. I guess the only thing you couldn't do is if you sell your MXDAI for something else, then you can't claim it back, or you'd have to buy it again. You can only claim back the amount of pDAI that you have got in terms of MXDAI.
Oh, thanks, Matty C85. Maybe that was an old message where there was only a few likes. But anyway, boys, I think we've got, oh my goodness, we've almost gone on for 2 hours. I was kind of expecting this to be a short, quick one. But yeah, I guess it's been good to show everyone everything. Do you guys want to say anything to kind of wrap this up?
DeFi?
I feel like we covered everything. Thank you very much, Stephen, for explaining it all. And I think, I think this is very bullish for Pulsechain as a whole and for pDAI. It's great. Thank you.
Could I say that if anyone's, this is all new to us, but if you've got any ideas of how any other game theories with this claiming, please come to our Telegram group, join it, join the discussion, because it's always new, it's always evolving. Absolutely share your excitement, DeFi and Stephen, with this. It's a game changer. So we're going to be looking to explore as many avenues as we can that it's opened up. But just on the stream, when you showed that, 2.4% APRs, I could earn money on my pDAI, safely without any impairment loss. So maybe other people have got some other great ideas. Please come and share them with us in the Telegram. Yeah,
and I think the other thing to consider with things like this as well, with the amount of volume that flows through it, I don't fully understand auto routing, but the bigger that you make your pool, the arbitrage also cascades through your pool. So if your pool's higher on the food chain and it has more liquidity in it.
Got it. So if someone was buying pDAI, it might through PLS, it might go through a little bit of MXDAI to get to pDAI, etc. Right?
Correct.
Just use the pool, won't it? Yeah.
And then when, in the same way as Mandala has that cascading effect, the liquidity will also the R bots will cascade down there. So in other words, the more that you work together to build your liquidity position higher and higher, the volume that's going to go through your pool is also going to increase over time from that. I don't know what the factor of that is, but just as a general rule of thumb, that's also something to consider. So, yeah, I've put the Mandala Telegram in the chat. I'm also going to put it in the description. But anyway, thanks a lot, boys. You made my night. You hyped me up. I'm all excited now. So, and
you're not going to be able to sleep, are you, buddy?
I don't think so. That's also another thing when I fast. My energy is like, sleep is a struggle, but I'm looking forward to tomorrow morning because I get to eat for the first time. So,
have you got anything planned? Any nice breakfast?
You got to eat something good first. Yeah, so I'll eat my eggs, I'll eat my banana, and I've got like a vegetable and grains mix. So just getting everything good back into your body. Like you don't want to do a fast and then go and eat a burger. It's like the worst thing you can do. Even though your body's like, I really want to eat something like that. You should be You should
Good
eat
man.
healthy.
Well, hats off to you, sir. Hats off to you.
Thanks, Stephen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks,
Brilliant.
DeFi. Thanks, boys.
Cheers, guys. Very
And everybody in the chat, thank you very much for contributing. Everybody have a good night.
Take care.
Good night.